Good day, everyone. This is Patrick from EasyFX Code Trading System, and it's Saturday, the 10th of June, 2023, and this is the weekly technical analysis for the Euro, the cable, and the Aussie dollar for the second week of June. And as we look across these three majors, the Euro did try to recover from the 200 EMA, but could not get too much higher. It attempted to climb up higher, but consolidated in the end for the week, whereas the cable did manage to break out slightly higher than the previous week's high, also from support at the 55 EMA. And the Aussie is the one that managed to recover the most over the last couple of weeks and almost reaching the daily 200 EMA. And let's see what drove these movements, especially for last week. And we'll also take a look ahead at the news for this coming week, which will be a very news-heavy week with a few central banks reporting. All right. So, of course, this week is a critical week with the FOMC having their meeting, announcing their rate decisions, along with the ECB as well. There is also the Bank of Japan on Friday. But before that, last week, the RBA made a surprise rate increase where the market was expecting a pause, and it is increased by 0.25% to 4.10% now. And this helped to give the Aussie dollar a boost. But starting the week, there was also the US ISM Services PMI, which came out lower than expected, which was a surprise. So this started the drift lower for the US dollar. And on Wednesday, the Australian GDP did not come out as strong as expected. So slight weakening in the economy. But this week, the critical one is the FOMC on Wednesday, and market is expecting a pause, leaving rate unchanged at 5.25%. However, last week, along with the RBA, the Bank of Canada also surprising the market by increasing their interest rate. And with these two central banks surprising the market last week, we're not sure whether the FOMC may also increase rate another 0.25% before taking a pause, especially with recent jobs data was higher than expected. Although last week, the unemployment claims for the US was significantly higher than expected, so that was a surprise as well. But this will be a critical one on Wednesday. Prior to that, there's also news from the US and UK on Tuesday and Wednesday with the CPI and the PPI. Critical data as well for the Federal Reserve, but they could take their cue from the PCE price index a couple of weeks ago already, which was also higher than expected. And the UK has jobs and GDP coming out. The Bank of England's rate decision will be next week, the following week. And then the ECB on Thursday, they're expected to increase rate as they're still behind on the interest rate hiking curve. And on Friday, the Bank of Japan, this will be the second meeting with the new governor. So we'll see if there's any changes to be made. The last one was a bit dovish, so the Japanese yen suffered at that point. Okay, so very news critical week this coming week, and let's go back to the majors. All right, let's begin with the euro. And of course, this Thursday, ECB will be having their meeting and announcing their rate decision, which they're expected to increase another 0.25%. And before that, the FOMC will have their meeting and decision. So that will also impact the euro. And earlier in the week, there's the CPI and PPI data from the US, which will definitely have impact for this coming meeting as well as the next one in July. So that will impact the euro. So, but this week there's only, or last week rather, it did manage to find support from the daily 200 EMA and bounced off and above the climb up above the 107, but did not go too far and was not able to reach the 108 level where the 55th retracement is, and close back down below this resistance zone, which is from all the way back from this swing low from a couple years ago, and then a swing high from last year. All right, and on a weekly time frame, it's just after a doji from the previous week. It's closed as a spring top this week or last week, and did not have the narrow range for the week, and not quite a harami because it did peak out slightly higher than the high of the previous week, but still indecisive, and it's all waiting for this coming week with the FOMC and the ECB. So we should also probably update the FIP here, and if we mark this as a swing low, that's from this retracement. So significant support at this swing low at 106.25. The daily 200 along with the 107 is forming an intermediate support area. And probably an intermediate resistance at the 108 along with the 38 FIP retracement, and as well as the daily 55 coming down. And we'll likely have a significant resistance up at the 50 FIP retracement. So if it does break through the 108 and the 38 FIP and the daily 55, then it could attempt to target the 50 FIP retracement around the 108.60 area. So let's see how it plays out this critical week. If it's going to break out, it needs to break through this area. But if it weakens and it falls below the daily 200 EMA, it could attempt to test the recent swing low. It could find strong support there. If not, then it's going to be trouble with further weakness. But it should likely find support at this critical swing low area. So let's see if it's able to break this critical resistance zone and push up above 108. Otherwise, it could just stay contained within this zone. All right, let's compare this with the US dollar index, the DXY. And here's the US dollar index and critical week for the US with the FOMC rate decision and as well as CPI data coming up first. It weakened through the week with starting with the lower than expected ISM services PMI figures and could not climb up to test the 104, just fell short of it and fell all the way back down to the 103 level. So that's a critical support here. May need to change this to an interim support with the next key support rising up to the daily 55 here. And this zone now has fallen through, so there's an intermediate resistance now. 104 is getting the critical level, so that could be a significant resistance along with the 786 retracement area. And on the weekly time frame, there was weakness after the spinning top for last week or previous week and fell back to find some support at the weekly 55 EMA. So let's see if it's able to find support this coming week with the FOMC meeting coming up. And it's if there is a surprise rate hike, then it's going to be a boost for the US dollar in the short term. But if the Fed does not raise interest and as expected by the market, then it could just continue to drift lower and consolidate at a lower area after this recent recovery. So if we do a quick check on this move, it's attempting to dip lower towards the 38 fib retracement at the daily 55 coming up, and it could dip to 102.30. That's where the 50 fib retracement is. So we could adjust the fib to this recent area and perhaps move this away and form a intermediate support here. Key one will be at the 50 fib. and shift the intermediate resistance slightly lower. 104 is still, we can just combine this and move this to this swing high here. So that will be the key resistance zone at the 105.25, the recent high. Okay. All right, so let's move back to the other majors for the analysis. All right, let's move on to the cable, where it did find strong support from the daily 55 EMA and got a boost on Thursday and continued a bit more on Friday. That was Thursday was due to the US unemployment claims, which came out higher than expected, and that weakened the US dollar. And cable took advantage here. This coming week, there's also UK jobs and GDP report and figures, and along with US CPI and PPI as well. But the key one will be Wednesday with the FOMC rate decision. And we probably could also adjust the FIPS now and see whether we can update recent moves and let's shorten this period here, this FIP to this recent swing high and swing low. And it's found support at the 55 where the 21 FIP tracement was, and major support below that. So coming up to 786, which will be a intermediate resistance. So let's move it all the way up to the recent swing high. That will be a major resistance. At the 126.80 area. So 786 is coming up at the line with the 126 round figure. Yep, so that could be an intermediate resistance there. And we'll mark this 123 swing low area as a significant support. On the weekly time frame, that was a bullish close and a strong bounce back up. So it could attempt to follow through and perhaps peek through this 126 area slightly, and not sure whether it's able to test the recent swing high, but yeah, it could just attempt to break out higher and then probably consolidate until next week, the following week, with the Bank of England's turn to announce their rate decision. And definitely support at the 125. All right, so we'll watch out for whether there's any follow through on the bullish momentum, or whether it's also just going to consolidate until the following week. Okay, let's move on to the Aussie dollar, where it has made the strongest move because of the surprise rate decision by the RBA on Tuesday, where they did increase rate. another 25 basis points to 4.1%, and that broke through the resistance zone past the daily 55, and then continued on the Thursday and Friday, attempting to reach the daily 200 EMA. I think we can also update the FIBs now, and let's take this one out and move to the recent high and low. And it has reached the 78.6 FIB retracement. This range here, which was intermediate resistance, let's mark that for support now. And 66 will become the major support. At the 38 FIB retracement. Let's move this away and let's mark a, let's take this out for now. And resistance now is, let's move this up to the swing high and the 68 FIB. Sorry, the 68 round figure. Swing high at 68.18. Okay. So this week there could be a pause, and then depending on how the US dollar moves and with their CPI data, and critically on the Federal Reserve's rate decision. On the weekly time frame, it's a strong bullish move here, climbing up from the 38 FIB up to the 76 FIB retracement. So it may pause and just consolidate under the daily 200, perhaps consolidate for the week, and then depending on the critical Federal Reserve decision. There's no major news from the Australian side, so it's all going to be driven from the US. Okay, so do check out my other videos on spot gold and dollar yen, and have a safe week and a good trading week, and cheers for now.